my favourite line. I think it's really fun, really clever. It's something different, more interesting to listen to. Hello, I'm Amelia Lummis. I'm a singer-songwriter who's written over 110 songs, and I'm currently studying songwriting and performance at university. Today, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the new James Marriott song. If you haven't heard it, it's called I Don't Want to Live Like This and was released on the 30th of January this year. If you haven't already listened to it, please do. I'm not going to be playing any of it within this video as I don't really think I need to, and also I think you should just listen to the song. It's a good song. I like it. I've previously liked and listened to some of his other songs, and I listened to this one when it came out and I thought it was really interesting and it would be cool to kind of analyse it and look into it more deeply. Since I first listened to the song, I've spent a weekend painting walls in my new place, and I played the song on repeat in the background. And here we are, over 200 odd plays later, and I do have some thoughts. Firstly, I wanted to look into the instrumentation, the arrangement, and the overall movement of the song. It's made up of a short intro, 2 verses, 2 pre-choruses, and then there's a chorus that happens twice, and then there's a kind of bridgy outro to end. The chords throughout are quite simple and seem to be quite repetitive. It's kind of a G, D, C, D, G overall. So getting into the actual song, it's got a 4-bar intro, it's just piano, it's kind of going up in a almost G add 9 arpeggio with a B at the bottom. It's not a traditional just major arpeggio, it's something different, more interesting to listen to. I think it sets it up quite nicely, and because it's so short, you do still get right into it. The verse comes in quickly. The drums in the verse is just the kick. It's like a literal 1, 2, 3, 4, just keeping the beat. The bass just kind of goes through the root notes of the chords, I mean, as basses do, but it's kind of a G, 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 D, D, C, 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 F sharp, F sharp, back to the G, and it kind of goes through again. It's quite a nice little bass movement. There's also guitar that kind of takes over from what the piano was doing, where it's kind of going through notes in a kind of higher way. It's not as high as the piano, and it doesn't do the exact same thing. The melody is just a quite simple, it's not going too many places, and I'm not going to be looking at the lyrics just yet. I'll come back to them. Then we have the pre-chorus. I'm saying it's a pre-chorus. Technically you could see it as like a second part of the verse, but I think it sets up the chorus well, which is obviously what a pre-chorus needs to do, and the chords do change. It goes in a different place, it has a different feel to it, so I'm calling it pre-chorus. And the G changes to an E minor, which technically is quite similar, but it does give it a sadder feel, as a minor would. Other than that, musically it's quite the same. The drum evolves into a d-ch, d-ch, rather than just the kick. The vocals become more punchy, a lot wordier, which I think builds to the chorus quite nicely. You're getting more happening, more involved, along with the drums. And then the last bar of the pre-chorus is silent. The drums come in and then it goes into the chorus. I think it's great. I think it's the perfect way to have it, having built it up, it's a perfect way to detract it and then come back in for the title at the start of the chorus. You go back to the same chords as the verse, but the bass line turns into kind of full chords with the guitar and everything. The drums are busier, but they're not quite as like boomy as they were in the pre-chorus and with the kick in the verse. But I think overall sonically it sounds great. It's evolved, it's bigger, you know it's the chorus. I love the fact that the chorus starts and ends with the title. It really emphasizes that this is the title, this is what the song is about. The notes are slightly more stretched out, legato-y vocals for the first 2 lines, and all of the notes are on beat. It's I don't want to live like this anymore, then it goes off. But it's all just keeping time, which I think emphasizes it. It makes the words sound really strong, and again, it's the title. You want people to be able to remember it. You want it to be the first thing you see the title, you're immediately already thinking, I know that song. Then we have verse 2. It comes back from the loudness and the busyness of the chorus into the same as verse 1, other than the drums. The drums are kind of doing what the pre-chorus had, so it's not just the kick anymore, but other than that, we have come back down. It's different to verse 1 rhythmically, so the melody is overall doing the same thing, but it's a tiny bit different. But it's a lot busier vocally, so the rhythm's changed, more's happening, you get, I think, double the kind of phrases. I love it when second verses are different to the first verse. I think it's one of the best things. It makes him stick out to me more. Some people don't like it. Like song purists are sometimes adamant that it should be the exact same as the first verse. I don't agree. I love it. It's different. I think it adds to the song. Some people don't. We can ignore them. Now, my favourite thing is this second pre-chorus ends with the same kind of break in instruments, but there's no vocal break this time. It ends with the words you and I, and the I is used again. Well, it's not used again. It's the same I that's used for the I don't want to live. So the words flow exactly into each other. It goes, you and I don't want to live like this anymore. I think it's really fun, really clever, and a great way to get into the second chorus. This chorus is the exact same as the original, and then it goes into an outro. Instrumentally, it's basically the same as the chorus. You're still doing the same thing. But we have new words. You kind of have two voices. One is kind of multiple tracks with reverb, so the backing, and that's repeating the same phrase over and over. And the other one, the main vocal, obviously more solid sounding. It's repeating itself sometimes, but it's less. And this repetition that the backing vocals are doing makes it really feels like an outro. It feels like you're preparing for the end of the song, and I do think it serves the purpose of an outro really well. Then the song ends with a kind of single strum and like a drum, and then just leaves the main vocal behind, which I think is a great way to end it, especially when it's been, busy throughout the song. The outro's had a lot going on with all the voices, and then it's just him. I think that was a great way to end it. So now I'm going to be looking at the lyrics. I love, all of them. You can pick them all apart. You can think of all the millions of connotations that every single line could have. I'm not going to, because that would probably take a long time, so I'm just picking out some of my favourite lines. Obviously, other than the title, I think the most important line is the first one. And I think this one's a really good one. It's a great way to start. You have one tear to mourn these moments we had. I really like the fact that it kind of goes one tear to mourn. I think it's clever doing the kind of 1, 2 counting. I think it's quite fun. Skipping through to the chorus, it has a lot of clever imagery and metaphors. So the first line after the title is, if I jump too high, I'll fall right back through the floor. It feels like something you can picture instantly, even though it's an obvious metaphor. It's talking about not wanting to experience the high because it feels like there might be an inevitable low crash that follows. And that metaphor of a kind of room is followed throughout the chorus. It carries on with, but the walls are closing in, which is a common kind of saying that's pictured. It's again very imagery. You can see it. You've already got that vision in your head that there is this room. Even though you know it's a metaphor, it's still there. And then think this building might just be decaying. Again, it's going over the same metaphor, but just giving you this vivid image. So the second verse starts with, so we jump in head first. And I think starting the verse with jumping in, there's something about that. Again, it feels fun. which obviously the song isn't supposed to be funny, but it's funny in like a clever way. It's funny in an interesting, well constructed way. The second verse flows nicely into my favourite line. Ruin new shoes with the same dirt. I feel like, again, you can instantly picture it, but this time there are even more possible meanings that I think different people could have. And I think that's an important thing with lyrics, is that even if you're saying as an artist, I have it meaning this, there are also the potential meanings that anyone listening could have, and you have to consider them. And I love that about songs and writing music, is that everyone will have their own interpretation of lines, their own interpretations of metaphors, their own interpretations of the whole meaning of the song. I love when songs are just filled with metaphors. I think this one has done it really cleverly. And this line, I take it to be, trying to change something that isn't like the root of the problem and expecting change, and not changing the thing that is actually destructive or damaging. Finding short-term solutions that fall through easily and end up with the exact same result anyway, that, could potentially be expensive. If you're constantly buying new shoes and then running through mud, that's an expensive thing. Could it be expensive emotionally, physically, in actual money? There are so many different meanings that you could look into for just that one line, and I love that. The second pre-chorus you have, and you say that I'm crazy, are you out of your mind? I love the kind of double way of saying the same thing and the kind of flipping it back from I'm crazy, you're out of your mind. It feels like a conversation. It feels humorous, but not in a funny way where you're laughing at it. It's more within the nature of the song, but it's clever. It's funny in a clever way. And obviously everything relates back to the chorus and the title of wanting change, not wanting to stay in this same situation where obviously things aren't working. And then the whole song ending with nothing left. I think that's quite funny because, in my opinion, that's kind of like a triple meaning, because you have the nothing left in the context of the song and the words. You also have nothing left because it's the end of the song. There isn't anything left. That's it. The song's finished. And then you also have nothing left as, at that point, the instruments have dropped out. It's just the voice. There's nothing left. I think that's quite fun. I don't know if that's just me seeing that, but I really like it. I also think throughout, I really like the rhythm of phrases and where the kind of stressed syllables fall. There are a couple phrases that really do it. There's, because the sound of me buckling under, but my patience is pressing for closure, and think this building might just be decaying. There's something about it that just works really well, and you get a kind of marching, pacing vibe, which adds to maybe a feeling of tension, a feeling of anxiety that is kind of there in the song, just from the way that the lyrics and the words are constructed. So, I've been going on and on about everything that I think is great in this song. Are there a couple of things I don't like or think could be better? Yes. They are personal things, and loads of people might disagree with me, but I think that the chords are quite repetitive, and the kind of rhythm of it, with the chords kind of going up, down, back up, it's quite repetitive. I like when songs kind of move on and do different things with the chords, but it doesn't have to, and I don't think this song needs it. I just think that maybe it could be more interesting, because I do really like when the G changes to the E minor. If there could have been more instances of that happening, it could have made it more interesting sonically. Also, again, this is probably just me, but I love bridges, and especially when they're a strong bridge and it goes back into the chorus. And because this chorus is such a good, strong chorus, it could have been nice to kind of go back to it. To be fair, bridges aren't really in fashion at the minute, so I'm kind of an outlier in this. But I don't think that the outro doesn't work. I think it's really good, and I do love the way that the song actually ends. But personally, I would have liked a proper bridge, and because there are new words added in the outro, it feels like if there had been a proper bridge, you could listen to them more than when you know it's an outro and you're kind of tuning out. But again, I think the outro is great. I do think it works within the context of the song, and it's just a personal preference. Overall though, I do really like this song. It's quite nice to listen to, and I listened to it for hours on repeat. And even though I was doing that from a technical mindset, it is nice to listen to. It's the rhythm and the melody and the instrumentation, it works. Also, loads of interesting lyrics, which I love, and you can get more out of it every single time you listen to it. It also gives the general feeling of potential hopefulness in the chorus, which pairs with the lyrics, even with the general kind of dark vibe. And I love the title and the general meaning that it puts through the whole song, and I feel like it's quite relatable to lots of people. I have, really liked analysing this song, so I'll definitely do more of these. If there are any songs that anyone would specifically like me to listen to, let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this as much as I did, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and go check out some of my other videos. I will see you soon. Bye!